I always say, simply put, your external wealth is just a reflection of your internal wealth, right? So if you have negative, scarce, limited, fearful thoughts around money, guess what your external reality is going to look like? Fairly similar. We need to figure out what 3 financial goals you should be going after and the cadence of accomplishments of those goals. Simply put, like, okay, now that we have the 3, which one should I accomplish first, second, and third? And are there any that I can run in parallel or run at the same time? I'm not against making more money. It just needs to make sense. And it doesn't make sense if you can't handle your current situation correctly. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to retire. How do I become financially free next year? And how you figure that out is figuring out what's going to be your vehicle. But if you figure out how to follow this and customize it to your unique situation, I promise you will reach financial freedom in the fastest, most fulfilling way possible if you just play your part. Hi, I'm Justin Buonamo, and this is Wisdom is Wealth. Wisdom is Wealth is designed to give you guys practical insights, modern strategies, and even timeless philosophies around gaining wisdom in your life. The wiser we get, the wealthier we will become. This podcast really is inspired by the book of Proverbs in the Bible, which was written by King Solomon, who prayed to God for wisdom and as a byproduct became the wealthiest person to ever live. If he was still alive today in present day, he'd be worth $1.3 trillion with a T. Not because he prayed for wealth, but he prayed to God to give him wisdom. And as he grew wiser, as a byproduct, he grew wealthier, particularly financially, but not just stopping there, in every facet of his life. And in my own life, I have realized that the wealthier I become, it's truthfully just because I have become wiser in life. I'm gonna bring on guests that are incredibly successful, incredibly amazing human beings, and have an amazing financial wealth that they've grown for themselves, and they're gonna share wisdom on their life experience in totality in hopes that something becomes valuable for you to implement in your process, in your life, and in your journey, and see how wisdom truthfully is wealth. Welcome back to another episode of Wisdom is Wealth, and today we're going to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart, and it's my 4-step process for financial freedom. And as I was prepping for this lesson, after I shoot one episode, I said lesson, I meant episode. After I shoot one episode, I start already immediately thinking about what can be the next one, right? And I might already have some ideas, some things in the vault, but as I was spending time with God over this past week and just asking him, God, what is the wisdom that I can share in this next episode? He was like, dude, why don't you just share probably the best wisdom that you have, particularly around finances, which is your 4-step process for financial freedom. And I was like, you know what? Great idea there, God. That's why I co-create with you. And so that's what we're going to talk about here today, is my 4-step process for financial freedom. So I know a lot of my listeners are active or past clients, or maybe even employees or close associates. And so you may have heard this multiple times before. Great. Let's hear some advice. Or some good advice another time that hopefully it lands, you catch a new nugget, and or just the season that you're in, you hear it differently and implement it differently. But for most people, this will probably be fairly new. And if you follow me on social medias and or been following my journey a little bit, I've been blessed to be able to go around the country to different areas and locations to teach in front of different size crowds, different crowds in totality, right? And then even do it virtually often as well, where I do my virtual wealth building workshops, or in person, like as the time that I'm shooting this episode, the next couple of days, getting ready to go back to Austin for the second time to do an in-person wealth building workshop where people come and they learn this 4-step process for financial freedom in person. And so today on this episode, I'm going to break that down. I'm going to at least give you guys a 30,000 foot view. Today's topic, or today's podcast episode on this topic, will be extremely valuable for you. Just make sure that you take away 3 golden nuggets. All right, these are things that like an aha moment, or that was really good, or I'm going to act on that. Or if you have, direct contact to me, like I'm going to shoot Justin the message to see if he'll elaborate on that further for me. And so there's 3 golden nuggets. You have those after today's episode. You had a great experience here today on this episode. And so let's dive into it. So the 4-step process that I teach for financial freedom, that I follow to reach financial freedom at a young age, and that hundreds of other people that I have taught are following and or have successfully followed to reach financial freedom, is a very simple but effective way for people to manage their finances in a way that leads to financial freedom in the fastest, most fulfilling way possible. So let's start at the end. What is financial freedom? All right, financial freedom is living life on your own terms, with freedom of choice and time, with no worries of money. Why you're able to do that is because you own an asset or assets that make you enough money each month automatically to cover your expenses and your lifestyle, whether you choose to show up or not. And so another word for asset you'll hear me use is vehicle or financial freedom vehicle. So that asset is what's making you financially free. And so that's the end result. Let's reverse engineer it all the way back to step one. So when people come to us, we set them up on this 4-step process where step one is implementing the right systems around your money while in parallel enhancing your mindset around money. So let's talk to the systems. Systems, another word for systems, are just tools, right? So we need a simple and effective way to be able to measure your money, budget your money, and expand your money, right? And so the expansion part comes in after we start measuring it, because we can't enhance what we're not measuring, right? Let's just say you wanted to lose 10 pounds. You have to weigh yourself from the beginning and then weigh yourself every step of the way to actually measure what you're trying to improve. So if we're trying to improve your finances, we need an easy way to be able to measure those finances, right? And also to be able to manage them, right? Unfortunately, society has made budgeting feel like this constricting, negative, fearful, talking down to you type of concept. And I apologize if that's happened to you or that's been your conception around budgeting, because it couldn't be further from the truth, right? The budget is the main tool or system that we need to implement that is going to allow you to live your life and make financial progress at the same time. And it's also the major tool that's going to allow you to accomplish all of your financial goals in the fastest, cheapest, most stress-free and trustworthy way as possible. And so simply put, we need simple systems like a budget, like a balance sheet, and a couple of other things that we utilize with our clients that we need to implement as tools to help us measure, monitor, and budget your money. Right? Again, you can't improve what you're not measuring. All right. And so that's the first thing, right? Implementing the right tools allow us to be in control of our money and then also build that peace with our money, because the majority of people's stresses and anxieties when it comes to money is subjective, or it's avoidable. And it comes from, I think I'm spending too much. I think I should be making more. I think I should save more money. I think I should invest. I think I should get rid of this subscription, right? All of that, I think, right, leads to confusion, which leads to overwhelm, which leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety. When you're measuring or budgeting your money the right way, all of that goes away because you know exactly what's going on and what you should and can do, while also being able to live your life in the process while making financial progress at the same time. Right? So as you can see, I'm a little passionate about just having the right systems. A simple budgeting system that I have been following for about 8 years now that takes me 1 to 3 minutes a day to update and maintain to get you best results has been a huge piece to my journey, right? Learning how to leverage budgets from an abundance standpoint and from an easy and effective standpoint is key, all right? And so if your budget feels restricting, feels like it's like handcuffs, right? It feels like it's like a punishment, and you don't feel like you can live your life and make financial progress on that budget, then you're on the wrong system, and let's see what we can do to help you with that. But in parallel to that, step one, part two, right? Or like this is A would be tools, B would be mindset, right? Or what you will also hear me call your internal world. I always say, simply put, your external wealth is just a reflection of your internal wealth, right? So if you have negative, scarce, limited, fearful thoughts around money, guess what your external reality is going to look like? Fairly similar. Or a more blunt way to put this is a lot of times the amount of money that you have in your bank account is a direct reflection to what's going on inside of you. And so when we can enhance the human being behind the money, the internal world, that relationship, that narrative, those beliefs and thoughts that you have around money and your worthiness of it, we ultimately start to correct the reality in a very good way, right? So where if we can get you feeling better about money, treating your money better, believing better things about money and your ability to acquire it and manage it well and your worthiness of it in totality, I promise you, you're going to see better results in your reality. Because when you start to address things from a belief level is when you start to get real long-term results. So step one, implement the right systems, easy, simple tools, while also enhancing our mindset around money. Once those things are in place, we can go to step two, which is strategies, or what I like to call a mission for your money. Simply put, we need to figure out what 3 financial goals you should be going after and the cadence of accomplishments of those goals. Simply put, like, okay, now that we have the 3, which one should I accomplish first, second, and third? And are there any that I can run in parallel or run at the same time? And so Most people get caught up here financially, right? What I mean by that is they're like, should I save money? Should I pay off my credit card debt? Should I buy a house? Should I invest in the stock market? Should I put money into my business? All of that, I think, leads to confusion, which leads to overwhelm, which leads to inaction. And as you can imagine, that's not very conducive for you making financial progress. And so if you don't want to be stagnant anymore, or feel like you're even going backwards with your finances, we have to figure out a mission for your money, which are what are your top 3 financial goals, right? And how are you going to accomplish them in the fastest, most effective way possible? If you're floating around right now and you don't have that laid out, like what are your top 3 financial goals and a plan, it's one thing to know those goals and think them and have them written down. It's another thing to actually have a plan that you're following to make sure that they are actually getting accomplished. So if you don't have that and you feel stagnant with your finances, that could be a big bang for your buck right there, figuring that out, right? What makes most sense for you? And what goals can we accomplish first, second, and third, and which ones can we run in parallel? Simple example, if you have a goal of fixing your credit and buying a house, we should probably fix the credit first to optimize the home purchase process. But if you have goals of making more money and saving more money, we might be able to run those in parallel, just as an easy example. All right, that's step 2, strategies, or a mission for your money, which is just figuring out your top 3 financial goals. All right, now we get to step 3, which is increase your income. Notice how I didn't start there? Right? I'm not against making more money, it just needs to make sense. And it doesn't make sense if you can't handle your current situation correctly. It doesn't make sense if you don't have the right tools to manage your money. It doesn't make sense if you don't have a mission for your money. It definitely doesn't make sense if you don't have a good mindset around money, because all you're gonna do is make more money, spend more money. Make more money, see just as little as you were seeing in the past when you had less money coming in. And so again, we're not against making more money. I'm not against making more money. The thing is, it just needs to make sense. At my company, JFF, Journey to Financial Freedom, where we offer financial coaching, one of our company slogans is more money's not the solution, ... until it is. Right? And once the foundations are in place, step 1 and step 2, now it makes sense to make more money. Right? And so at this step, we need to figure out what your vehicle is that makes you financially free. And hint, it's not your day job or your 401k if you want to be financially free in the fastest, most fulfilling way possible. Right? Your day job and your 401k are designed that you can hopefully achieve some freedom at age 65. But it never really made sense for me to trade my youth and my health for possible freedom down the road in my later years when I've missed a whole bunch of memory making and opportunities, right? While going to a day job each day that I don't love, let alone like. It just never really made sense to me. And so I'm not knocking anybody, to each their own. We need people at day jobs, right? I'm sure a lot of people listening to this probably do love their job. But for me, a couple of years ago, 5-6 years ago, when I first started my company, right? The idea was, okay, I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to retire. How do I become financially free next year? And how you figure that out is figuring out what's going to be your vehicle, right? And so there's really only 3 options, right? And I could throw in a 4th here, right? But I'll say there's 3 options when it comes to picking your vehicle that's going to make you financially free. The idea here is to ask yourself about the speed and the fulfillment of these vehicles. And I'll start with stocks and bonds, right? Which is just investing in the stock market in hopes that the assets that you're buying in the stock market eventually will make you financially free, where you could live off of the passive income from those investments, and living off that passive income meaning that the passive income is enough to cover your expenses and your lifestyle, right? And so if you do the math right now with the amount of money that you have left over each month, let's just say it's $2,000 after all bills and lifestyle, right? The amount of time that it would take you to take that $2,000, put it into the stock market, and amass enough money in the stock market where the passive income would be enough to cover your expenses and your lifestyle and make you financially free, that'd take you 30 to 40 years, right? Just, you could do that math either on an investment calculator online, or just, you could fact check me on that, right? Nothing inherently wrong with that, but that's not the fastest way possible. That's not next year. That's not in 5 years, right? And there's also not a ton of fulfillment in that route, because a lot of times you're going to a day job to earn the money to have left over to put into the stock market that you don't really love, right? And so not much speed or fulfillment in the stock market route. I'm not against the stock market, right? I just know it's for the long haul, right? It's almost guaranteed income and wealth growth over the long haul. But again, if you want to be financially free next year in 5 years, that's probably not your best bet, right? Number 2, right, would be real estate, right? So real estate's a great option, right? It's a little bit faster, right? But still, I've sat with some of our most successful clients, and I basically looked at their numbers, and it would take them about 10 years to amass enough rental properties where the leftover money each month from those rental properties is enough to cover their expenses and their lifestyle, right? A little bit faster than 30 years, but again, it's 10 years, right? And again, it could be faster for some people's unique situations, right? Could have them financially free faster, right? But really just brings me to the third option, right? So it's stocks and bonds is the first option. Second option is real estate. Third option is just a business, whether that's starting your own and or buying somebody else's, right? And so I love the business route. Obviously, I'm a little biased towards that, but because there's a ton of fulfillment in the business route, depending on what you're doing, right? And the speed is uncapped, right? There's not a cap on the amount of money that I can make on my business this month. There's a cap on the amount of money that I can make in the stock market each month and year. There's a cap on the amount of money that I can make in real estate each month and each year, right? The stock market on its best years, I probably should have fact checked this before I threw this out there, but I'd assume on its best year, it rose 30 to 40%. Great return on investment, but the cap is 30 to 40% growth, right? Real estate, the amount of money that you can make each month is just like if you're charging $5,000 for rent, you're paying $3,000 out in expenses, you can only make that $2,000 that's left over each month. You can only charge so much for rent, right, each month. So there's a cap. With a business, there's no cap. I can make $1 bazillion this month, right? There's a possibility of that. There's a possibility to grow your business to a point where there is no income gap. Or income cap, right? And then also over the years, if you set it up the right way, it could survive without you, right? And so you can either keep it and hold on to that business as an ATM, where like you're staying as an owner of the business and you're just showing up in a capacity in the business that you only feel that you want to show up in, right? Don't get me wrong, as you're building the business, you're going to have to show up in capacities that you're not going to want to show up in long term, right? I've been there, right? And so, but ultimately, the goal is to get the business to a way where it's automated, and the only way that you're showing up is in a capacity that you feel passionate about showing up in, right? And then you're just keeping the leftover money. The business is making $75,000 a month. You've got $25,000 in expenses, right? And that $50,000 left over is yours as the business owner to keep, right? That should be plenty to cover your expenses and your lifestyle, right? Again, you might have different unique variables, but just by simple theoretical examples, that should be plenty to cover your expenses and your lifestyle. All right. And so, or the other idea is you could sell it for top dollar. You build the business up, you automate it, you make it a healthy machine, and you sell it for X amounts of millions of dollars, and you take your money and you go separate ways. Right. And so those are the three options. The fourth option I was going to throw out there is crypto, a little bit less predictable. I don't have as much experience in that facet, though I do have money in crypto, though I do have an interest in crypto, there's some things that I do believe in about crypto. It's just a little bit more unpredictable right now. And then also I don't have as much experience on it where I would feel comfortable leading you guys that direction, right? But really, whether I felt comfortable leading you that direction or not, those four options, particularly the first three, right, for the sake of what I can teach on, are really your only options when it comes to this step 3, which is increasing your income. And we increase your income essentially at this step by figuring out what is your financial freedom vehicle. Right? What is the asset or the vehicle that we can purchase that eventually, right, but faster than the conventional route, will make you enough money each month automatically to cover your expenses and your lifestyle, whether you choose to show up or not. That's step 3. What's that vehicle? Step 4, right, is now generate passive income is what I call this step. Or another name that I give it or phrase that I give it is become financially unshakable, right? And so at this step, if we did all the other steps correctly, particularly step 3, you should not only be making more money, you should be seeing more money each month, profiting more money, right? Having more money left over at the end of each month, right? So in your old situation, you had $2,000 left over each month. Now, if we did step 3 the right way, you're making more money, you got your vehicle, you should have $10,000 left over, $20,000, $30,000, whatever that number looks like. There's a lot more money left over at the end of each month now. We need to take that money and invest it in a way that generates you passive income that makes you financially unshakable. Another way to put that is let's go buy you more financial freedom vehicles. For example, use my personal situation, right? My wife and I, our first financial freedom vehicle was my financial coaching company, JFF, or Journey to Financial Freedom. That started doing very well a couple of years ago. A lot of leftover money, thankfully by the grace of God. And so then we took that money and we invested it on the back end where we bought other financial freedom vehicles. So now we own other vehicles or assets that technically make us financially free. And so the idea is if JFF is down one year and the other 2 to 3 vehicles that we own are up, then we're up in totality. And if those vehicles are down one year, but JFF is up, right, or positive or healthy, then we're up in totality. And so you always hear the advice to diversify your investments, which I'm not a big fan of. right? I actually believe in going all in on one thing and then let me actually correct that since I actually passionately believe about it. So what I believe is you go all in on one thing to get rich and then you diversify to stay rich, right? And so I went all in on JFF to get rich and I took the leftover money and I diversified it to stay rich. Right? Bought a bunch of other vehicles, right? So no matter what happens in the stock market, what happens in society, what happens in one of the businesses, one of the vehicles will always be providing me and my family that financial freedom, generating passive income to become financially unshakable. That's step 4, right? And so that's my 4-step process for financial freedom. Again, financial freedom is living life on your own terms with freedom of choice and time with no worries of money, right? And why you're able to do that is because you own an asset or vehicles that make you enough money each month automatically to cover your expenses and your lifestyle, whether you choose to show up or not. Right? The idea is this is going to get you to financial freedom a heck of a lot faster with a lot more fulfillment in the process than the conventional route of going to a day job that you don't love and waiting till you're 65 to possibly be free and retire. Right? And so how do we do that faster? How do we provide that freedom faster? And this 4-step process allows for that. And so I hope that this helps. Obviously, I can't customize this to everyone's unique situation here, right? Just giving this, general advice here about this 4-step process. But if you figure out how to follow this and customize it to your unique situation, I promise you, right? You will reach financial freedom in the fastest, most fulfilling way possible if you just play your part. And so that's something you need help with. I own a company, as I mentioned multiple times, called JFF, or Journey to Financial Freedom. And we do financial coaching for faith-based and ambitious individuals where we take you through that 4-step process. We hold your hand every step of the way. We design it and customize it to you to increase your financial peace, to actually make you feel like you're in control of your money, to actually start making progress with your finances and ultimately lead to freedom with your money. So that's something that you're interested in. You can either go to the website, which is journeytofinancialfreedom.co, not .com. We left off the M and it saved us like thousands of dollars on buying that domain. Or you can go to my Instagram, Justin_Buonamum, and you'll see a link in my bio where you can book a call with one of my team members to just learn more about my program and if it would be a good fit for you when it comes to taking control of your finances, putting a plan in order, and finally achieving that peace and control and progress and freedom you've been desiring for forever around your money, but just can't seem to figure out. So we're here for you. So book that call, learn about the program. Worst case scenario, as always, just like, subscribe, and share this episode, right, with someone that you think will benefit from this. Anybody that you know that's like, man, they've been trying to figure out their finances for a minute, or I know they're stressing about their finances and there are some golden nuggets in here that can definitely help them like they helped me. Please share, spread the love. And so I appreciate y'all coming back to another episode of Wisdom is Wealth. I hope that this 4-step process for financial freedom served you, and we'll see you on the next episode.